Hello and welcome again to one of my high budget videos. Here I'm going to quickly show you the RMC260 and the configuration using the serial port, which is the USB connector on the controller. Now in this particular demonstration you probably don't recognize that as well as what you should. That is the control panel for a new ATEM, it's a TVS HD. I don't quite understand why they call it a TVS HD, because the older TVS over there also does HD, but who knows. So here we have a RMC2ATEM unit here, version 1, which is the non-version with the LCD display, blah blah blah. I showed you that in the last video. So here I'm just going to very quickly cut to the chase, and we're going to go and do the configuration. And again, just recapping, this currently is controlling the TVS HD. So as I'm doing a little wipe here on the control panel, you can see it's all happening up there, and it's all happening down there. All the cross points are all switching. You can see down here I don't have many inputs on this. Let's find the input that works. I was on still. There you go. So let's go to bars. What's it called? Color 2, color 1. Then I've just got a bare source. Nothing, and then I've just got the new Hyperdeck Mini going in as just as a source. So basically what I'm going to show on here, I'm going to try and hold this down here. It's the same as I showed you in the last video. As I'm changing sources here, it's got to make sure this thing focuses. As I'll just do a wipe here. You see it gets the end of the wipe and the inputs toggle, as you would expect to see over here. I'll just do it again, and the program preview toggles as I'm doing the wipe. Basically on the serial connector, the USB connector, there are commands. If you just type in, put my cursor over here, type in question mark, there are some. This is not all. This is all work in progress. But these are some of the different commands you can ask. Like for instance, you can do a capital D for directory of the built-in SD card. Go back to question mark. You can see you can do display the stills, which we won't cover at the moment. N for name shows you the names that are available on the unit. Question mark again. Display P is a display program and preview bus names, and as you can see there's actually 20 available. Using the shift key, as I explained the last one, you can actually get to 9 to 16. But here you can see currently I've got allocated cameras 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which I've got B and C's. I think number 5, no, 1 to 4 is HDMI in on the TVS HD. 5, 6, 7 and 8 are B and C's. But I've got bars, colour 1, colour 2 allocated to some of those earlier buttons. Anyhow, as I said, the last video I showed you the shift function. But what I'm going to do here, let's just go back and see what other menu items here you might be interested in. Display store name, don't worry about that. Upload files, okay, we won't worry about that for the moment. What I'm going to do here, we're going to use the C, capital C, enter configuration mode. I quickly showed you this last time, so we're just going to go capital C, but trying to do this one-handed, capital C. And when we do that, it then opens up the configuration manager. It always remembers the last configuration we worked on, which was me doing the setting up for the cross points. But if you go to the very top using the arrow keys, so that takes you to the very first menu item, it takes you to the very last, and everywhere in between, and then left and right or enter will then enter that configuration to adjustments, and to abort without changing anything, you just hit the escape key there. So just looking back on here again, I'm going to try and hold this as steady as I can. So if we want to adjust the location IP address, or where the ATEM is on the network, this doesn't actually alter the ATEM IP address. This only tells the RMC2ATEM where the ATEM is. So I'm going to hit enter, and then it'll show you the current IP address. Now that is actually a number, but it's overexposed. You can actually see that. You can actually see the number if I try and drop the exposure down. So that's actually showing the current IP address, and if I use the left and right arrow keys, you can see I can then go and select which one I want. So I'm just using the right arrow key, I can use the left arrow key. Now once I select the item that I want, it's going to be awfully difficult if I can't get that to expose properly. So you can see that's currently sitting at 142. I'm going to use the up arrow keys now. You can see that's increasing in value, and using the down arrow key, that's decreasing in value. You can then go and select each one individually. I can change that one, and then once you're happy with the setting, you just hit enter, and it'll quickly come up until it's saving, and it's been saved into non-volatile memory, so that when you have a power down and power up again, everything's memorized. Because you've got to remember that this particular setting up, you do back at base. If you know what your location requirements are, you do it all back in base, and it all remembers it in non-volatile memory, so you don't have to worry about it setting all up again when you get to location, unless you change your mind. So the second menu item is basically the same as the first, except this actually sets the IP address, and as before, I can enter that by hitting enter, or you can hit either left or right arrow key. It'll take you into the setup again. It seems to expose that number quite okay there, doesn't it? So this is the address of the RMC2ATEM controller. So you can set that to anything you want, but so long as your first three digits are the same as the ATEM, it should work properly. That's pretty simple. I'm not going to go back and okay, I can show you. There you go. I'm changing it, and there you go. So now that will change the IP address of the controller box. And when you're using, a little later on, I'm going to show you how to upload all the GPI commands, which is a huge file. We actually use a telnet connection for that because of the speed or the amount of data. Anyhow, so once we're happy with that, or I can say, let's say, set that to, you can't see it now, it's gone. I can just hit escape. There you go. That's just 237. I can hit escape without hitting enter. It takes us back. Now if I then go back in again, you'll notice it hasn't changed that number. Hitting escape will take you out of anything without changing it. So if you get lost, you can just hit escape, as I just did then. The third menu item is setting the program preview cross points. Now these are the cross points which are identical for both the program and preview rows, and whatever you change will affect both program and preview because they're supposed to be exactly the same. A little later on we'll show you how to do it for key and aux buses and stuff like that. That's a bit advanced at the moment, and I'll just quickly touch on that when I get to that in the menu items, but you do that using the buttons on the GPI box, or your GPIs. Now, to change these particular cross points, what we do is, again, we can hit enter, or we just hit a right or left arrow, and always remember the last one you changed as well. So if you're fiddling with one particular input, you don't have to keep on scrolling up to it or whatever. So quickly you can just use the up and down arrows to look at what the allocations are, and as you can see here, this is all pretty basic. It's just 4, 5 to 5s, and then button 6 I've got colour 1, button 7 I've got colour 2, and button 8 I've got colour bars. Now we can also go and program 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, which change when you use the shift button. You can access those extra inputs. So let's just say we go down to, let's say, input 2. We can then use the left and right arrows to scroll through the different inputs that are available on this switcher. So you can go all the way up to colour bars, and so for instance here I've got on input number, on input 8, which is BKG, I've got colour bars on that. So if you look up here, see, I can set the button 2 to colour bars, I can set it to colour 1, colour 2, and of course I can also put media players 1 and 2 on it. And at any time, if you don't want that, you want it abort, you just again hit the escape button, and then you can then enter back into that mode again, and it hasn't changed anything. As you can see, it's colour 1, 2, so you can change them as needed. So that's basically it for the program preview. That will be very similar to the key and aux buses once I get that software written. It's not too far off, but then again, everything that I need to do is not too far off. Now the next one is the still cross points. Again, you can enter into that by just pressing any of the left or right or enter buttons, and it'll take you through. And as you use the up and down arrow keys, you can go through and look at the 16 buttons, because you remember 9 to 16 is available using the shift button. You can see that it'll show you the actual what's selected. So for instance, I can say set, let's go back up to button 1, I can set still, I can change it to still 2, still 3, still 4. Now if there was stills loaded, it'll actually show you the actual name of the still. I just haven't had time to load them in yet. And the same as with the program preview crosspoints, I didn't show you in this video, I showed you in the last video. If you've got the monitor enabled, it will, as you're changing these selections, it will show that particular selection up on the preview bus up here, if there's a still there. So you can eyeball your selection to ensure that you've got the right one that you've asked for. And again, if we just want to abort, we can, or we can hit enter. So we just come out of there. Now these next couple of menu items, I haven't written these yet, but these are just basically the same as the as I mentioned before, program preview bus. I'll just take you quickly back down there again, and as I mentioned before, let's go back to say input 2. As I change that input, I won't show you that at the moment. What I was going to say is that if you've got we go all the way down here to monitor, preview monitor. If you hit that, you can toggle between. Hit the wrong button. You can toggle between whether the source, whether you're allowed to change the preview monitor or preview bus, or you're not allowed. That's so if it's not allowed, you can still change the cross points, but you can't see the cross points that you've selected on the preview row. So you kind of you got to do it by memory rather than by eyeballing. But let me just quickly go back down there. Oh, come out of there. Enter. These aux bus and key bus are the same as the preview. I haven't done the white pattern selections yet. You can still do that on the version 2 full box, but not here yet. But this is all prioritised at the moment. Active DSK, you just be able to switch between DSK1, DSK2 for all your on-panel adjustments. So if you do any adjustments for the DSK1 or DSK, it will do it to the DSK that you have allocated up here. And of course it's all interactive, so that you can actually be switching the active DSK here between the 1 and 2 while you're actually setting them up on air. So that's a nice little feature. I'm trying to think of the word Grant uses. Exciting? I think he uses the word exciting. That's exciting. Active ME for the 2 ME switches, you can select between ME1 and ME2. If you've got the second panel and you're using version 2, the V2 box, you actually can have the two panels, one doing ME1, one doing ME2. Again, that's something I'll be showing you later on. Now, these are menu items that I haven't yet come up with what their use is going to be, but I can tell you I'm going to fill them all up with things. Like, for instance, okay, I've done that here. See, that use number 17 used to be blank, but now this is where you can program the GPI buttons to perform any function you want. And as I mentioned in the last video, I programmed button number 1 to be shift, but you can actually program multiple shift buttons to do multiple different alternate functions. I won't go into that at the moment. Again, that's the preview monitor. This is the setting the functions of the I/O pins, which I'll do a separate video on because it's quite complex, that one. And this will, I don't think I've written this one yet. See, I hit the button, nothing happens. That's where it'll come up and give you the stats of the box, being the version, software version number, the serial number of the box, serial number of the ATEM, or how many inputs, blah 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 blah. And then when you want to come out of configuration mode, now you notice, just before I do that, you notice as I'm changing cross points here, you'll see that it's not changing it won't change anything because I've locked it out. But if you see it's not showing any input names or numbers or anything. But if I now come out of the mode by hitting the escape key, you see it says it's entered the configuration mode, and now it's back into normal operation, where you can see it as I'm changing the inputs here. You'll see it changing the sources as selected in the configuration. I promised this would be a quick video, but I just looked at it. It's been running 19 minutes almost. So signing off for now. But just for those people who have been emailing me asking me the compatibility, it's as you can see, it's all working with that. And this is all running on Blackmagic's version 7.01. So it's goodbye, and I'll do a little. Oh, I've got a little fade to black here. Yeah, I'm going to press the fade to black, and we do a fade to black, which is good night as well. Bye bye.